Hi, my name is Jim O'Toole, and I'm a senior fellow in the Markkula Center for Applied Ethics. And I'm really honored today that we have as a guest Betsy Rafael, who brings an enormous amount of experience and wisdom to the issues of business ethics. Betsy has had a very long and distinguished career. She started off as an accountant, but then she's been a senior executive at Apple and Cisco and Silicon Graphics. And what is particularly germane for our discussion today, she has served on the board of several very large corporations here in Silicon Valley. Betsy, what we're going to talk about today is the role of the board in creating and maintaining and monitoring the culture of the organization to see to what extent it is ethical. And I guess the first thing I want to start it off on is asking you, what, if anything, can a board do to assess the degree to which the organization in which they have some responsibility for the ethics, overall ethics of the organization? How can they tell if it's behaving in an ethical way or not?
Great question, Jim. You know, clearly management has responsibility to kind of run the company on a day-to-day basis. The board members are not there every day. Having said that, they still have a responsibility to kind of understand what's going on in that culture. And they do that in a number of ways. And probably first and foremost, the board is usually directly responsible for hiring and firing the CEO. And so clearly who they put in charge and making sure, I mean, you can't always tell if you're hiring somebody from the outside. You know, you'd like to always do try and buy or always have somebody internally. But clearly you have a responsibility to make sure that this person is not just, you know, has all the shiny posters on the wall that says they're ethical, but they're walking the talk kind of in the boardroom and really throughout the company. And so they do that in a variety of ways. And you know, certainly one of the most obvious ways is asking questions, making sure that things pass the sniff test. You know, making sure that you have relationships with people and you have access to people within the company, understanding kind of what's going on in the business and you know, understanding that you're not getting kind of told one thing that's inconsistent with a message that the company has sent out externally somewhere else. So again, I think it's implying kind of, you know, reasonable judgment and making sure that you're, you know, asking questions and really trying to understand kind of what's going on.
You used an expression a little bit earlier today that the secret was for the board to have their noses in but their hands off, which implies that the board has to have a rather special kind of relationship with the CEO so that you understand each other's respective roles. What's the sort of a secret of making that work? I mean, so that you're not doing the management's job, but you are doing your job.
Well, I think that it's important for a couple of reasons. One, it's also, you know, the CEO wants to be able to do his job. And you want to be able to set the right expectations and hold him accountable to be able to do that. But in addition, if the board is trying to, the board has a responsibility to provide some oversight and some governance. And if they're not, if they're trying to do more than that, and they're trying to do his job and then provide governance over something that they did, you also lose a little bit of objectivity. So it's important for a number of different reasons for, you know, everybody to kind of be clear on their role and making sure that you stay in one of oversight. And oversight doesn't mean don't ask questions. Oversight might mean asking lots of questions. But at the end of the day, you want to, again, expect versus inspect kind of what people are doing and hold them accountable.
What do you think are some of the red flags that you look out for if you were on the board? What are some of the sort of danger signs that perhaps there are things going on there that you need to find out more about, or perhaps should be worried about?
Well, I mean, again, I think there's some obvious things in the financial arena where you might see things that would be, inconsistent. Kind of always making their numbers. Revenues always going up the same. Where there might be something much more kind of serious going on. But even as simple as, again, here's our stated set of values, and then making decisions that are inconsistent with that. And the one example I use a lot is, if you talk about a culture of integrity and we say, we're not going to tolerate people doing the wrong thing, then you find out that somebody within the organization, let's say in sales, has kind of done something wrong in order to get an order or a deal. And when that kind of gets raised up to management, they say, well, what are we going to do about it? Well, we can't fire the guy. This is one of our best guys. Again, it's easy to be ethical when the cost is low. It's a lot harder to be ethical when the cost is high.
Yeah. Well, that's really very sound advice, and we want to thank Betsy Rafael for joining us today. And if you'd like to learn more about some of the challenges that boards face in terms of monitoring the ethical cultures of their organizations, please visit the Markkula Center website. Thank you.